Hello again and good morning. I'm Maurice and I've got another food for thought this Friday. I want to talk about pride. It's something that we all are challenged with. I'm aware of my pride, and much as I'd like to be humble, I sense that I'm proud. You know, we all have it. If you think you're humble, then that's an admission of pride. Think about that. If you think you're humble and say you're humble, it's an admission of pride. Because it's impossible to know your own heart. How do you know if you're proud or humble if you don't know your heart? Let me read you what it says in Jeremiah 17 verse 9. The heart's deceitful and desperately wicked above all things, and who can know it? That's why David said, search my heart, know me, see if there's any wicked way in me. He'd already committed adultery and murder, and his heart had deceived him and covered it up. Solomon says that God alone knows our hearts. When he dedicated the temple, 1 Chronicles 6:30, prayed to God, then hear from heaven your dwelling place and forgive, and render unto every man according to all his ways, whose heart you know, for you only know the heart of the children of men. God alone knows our hearts. You know, pride is so fundamental. It was the first sin in Eve. Pride caused Eve to sin. Pride is love of self, thinking of yourself more highly than you are. It's love of self, and she proved that she loved herself more than God. It was a simple test, and she failed it. She loved herself more than God. So how do we rid ourselves of pride, this awful attitude that's in competition with God? Well, you can't pray for pride to go. It doesn't work like that. God won't answer that prayer because it's up to us. You have to humble yourself. You have to deny yourself. God can't deny yourself. You've got to deny yourself. And doing humble actions won't make you humble. In fact, humble actions are more likely to make you proud. Humility is in the mind. It's a disposition. The actions, of course, will be acts of humility, but acts of humility without the heart being humble is hypocrisy. So humility is in the mind, so the actions are only an unassuming consequence of what's already in our mind. So humility is an attitude, a mindset, a disposition. And we have to humble ourselves like Jesus did. Let me read you what Jesus did and how he had the right attitude. Philippians 2:5. Let this mind, this thinking be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus, who being in the form of God, thought it not robbery to be equal with God, but made himself of no reputation. He made himself, and took upon him the form of a servant, and was made in the likeness of men. And being found in fashion as a man, he humbled himself. So that's twice he humbled himself. He humbled himself and became a man, and then he humbled himself and became obedient to the death of the cross. So have a blessed day. Don't forget, humility is in the mind, the attitude, the disposition. So work on the mind, not the actions. And keep thinking.